just in case I put my head down or whatever. Okay. So you texted me.
So we are live now.
Okay.
So 1 second. So just to saying. So he was saying that wegen the keeper. Okay. Now, so ich habe es geliked of status, and the point is the moest get is eine game I like,
Okay.
but he's not there. But laat me toch takken vragen. Die bist so Cohen it's obviously an article so like an interview, obviously. But laat me toch vragen echt. Die bist in the sound yet, or it is etwas anders?
Sound.
New sound.
Video as well. I mean, full production.
What was mine this?
So with sound systems, lighting, video, you go to an event and there's lighting, there's video. That doesn't mean if I'm always there and I'm doing the sound, I'm doing all of it. A lot of times the customer will sub out parts to different people, different companies.
So okay, so ich will ein second the fragen. Dit is video, ja? Ich weiß, dass dit is sound. Wieso kannst du mich machen, als sie tracht, als dit is toch het video?
That's a good question. Sales.
That is a good question.
I've never claimed that's something I'm good at. I'm actually pretty bad at sales. I should learn to be a little bit better, but
yeah, but dan moest kick on.
So it depends. Like, let's say if you want to hire a photographer, I wouldn't tell you to come to me. Hire an independent photographer. If you want to do a live stream, hire an independent guy that's going to do your live stream. But if you need a lot of video equipment for an event you're putting on, whether it's at home for family, but you need multiple rooms, multiple screens, and multiple feeds. If you need for an event, wedding, corporate, fundraiser, backyard event, whatever it is, from the small.
Ich habe getracht, ich weiß Sandal speakers. Ich dachte Sandal speakers. Ich weiß schon Sandal like Sandal video.
Yeah.
So a second. So wieso sales te takken? Because me ken die because sat negatin sound. Wieso weiß man? I'm serious.
I don't know how many people are actually gonna know me personally. Most people know my father. So most people know
the video.
Did sound in Satmar from 1969. He started. His first sound job was in 1969, and the whole reason he did it was because there was an issue finding someone to do the sound for Kufal of Kislev, 1969.
Wow, this is going back a while. Sorry, this is a Farm Monroe.
The old shul in Williamsburg that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's the steel building in that area, which in itself is a whole controversial topic. So yeah, that's kind of where he started, and I started taking over. I started working for him at this point more than 2 decades ago, like 21 years ago, and it was about 2011 when I took over the business. But when I took it over, I still did it in conjunction with Montata, and we still worked together a lot. But for the last couple of years, it's just me. There was kind of a couple of years where I wasn't really focusing on sound so much, from like 2018 to early 21. Those like 3.5 years.
I didn't know that. So I second. So when I called dier, koopt men dan like wem had men hand in mind? Met het van tata, met het van dier.
So at this point, when someone talks about Sandel sound, they usually have my number and they'll be calling me. A lot of times they call my father, and he will sometimes take the information and relay it to me, or just tell them, call my son, this is his number, blah, 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 and they'll call me, or he's still like last week I did an event that he actually took care of the entire job on his end. Now, it depends on the customer. Now, this was a customer, a person that knows him going back years. So they felt more comfortable dealing with him, I guess. But at the end of the day, I need to agree to do it, and I need to give out the price because pricing these days is with me. So
Oké, so bij eindelijk called. By the way, de idea van video is aan meer aan eigen zaak. Mijn Venice is geworden meer out
so
there.
so we started doing video, and I would say about 2011, 2012. When I started taking over, we started doing video and lighting, but not on a very big scale. Like we bought some projection screens, some TV screens, a couple of cameras, some equipment to stream and switch between the cameras. You need what's called a video switcher to switch between what you're sending from the computer source, or back then we still used a lot of DVD sources, or multiple other camera sources, and sending it to whether we have main screens on the side or in the back of the head table or dais, or just where the audience direction towards the podium goes. We did a lot of corporate non-Jewish shows as well, where video is is needed just as much as sound. And when I'm saying video, it doesn't always mean video walls. Now we do video walls as well. It's
So,
not my main sound is still my main focus, because that's what we've been doing for at this point 55
okay,
almost
so
56
one
years.
second, one second. So, Sachen posten so die ganze Zeit, right?
Yeah,
In die das der ganze, diese Style Systems, nein?
crazy expensive. Yeah,
Really? In die das der ganze Zeit upgraded mit der nice, mit der.
I have to be as up to date as possible, and sometimes you can lose a customer if you're not up to date. Like especially like
Example.
with wireless microphones, there is an aspect of looks has to be, the equipment needs to look up to date. Um, a lot of people, I guess, knew my father as going out with old beat up stuff, and some people, like, at this point, when you tell them Sandel, they'll be like, the old guy with the right to boot. Yeah, he used to show up with these weird stuff, blah blah blah. Like, well,
Okay, but
I took over my father's hobby and helping out Satner, and then kind of doing it on the side as a business. And my whole aim and goal was to turn it into an actual business.
okay, so by the way, die zoekt wegen wireless, ja. Wireless ist schon seit 15, 20 Jahren. Was ist jetzt?
Wireless is constantly becoming uh, more and more regulated, because you have the FCC that regulates wireless frequencies, because everything is wireless today. And if everyone would be crashing, it's like, you know how when you go on an airplane, how do you know that when the airplane picks up and lands, who tells them? There's an organization called the FAA, and I'm not that. Maybe I'm just gonna mess up the whole thing here. So I'm not gonna go
Okay,
into detail, but there's flight patterns worldwide that everyone communicates with. This way, there aren't any midair crashes, except for the one that happened oh, 6, 7 months ago over Washington, D.C., which
right.
was tragic. But so every Wi-Fi, people don't realize Wi-Fi, cell phones. So when you in an empty room, you can buy a cheap wireless system. So currently, most wireless systems run on UHF. UHF. It used to be a lot VHF. Now it's mostly UHF. VHF is
Okay.
still available, but it's a little more packed, and it has freed up because it's a very low range frequency. But UHF is from, I think, from 470 to 560 or five somewhere between, in that range, and
Mhm.
that's what the audio and the production and the film industry is allowed to operate. Now, you can actually get licenses to go to higher frequencies.
Ein Second, die
But
läuft ziemlich schnell. Was heißt license? License die uma speaker kann, sie machen Sound?
No, so for we're talking wireless.
Right.
So when you have an average musician kauft a wireless microphone, it's somewhere in the UHF. And they don't have to worry about it because it's 1 or 2 channels, even if it's more, even if it's up to 8 channels. The likelihood of them interfering with anything is very small.
Interfering might between wem and wem.
Between them interfering with something else, like an emergency radio frequency, or something else interfering with them.
Okay, Mike? Sorry, I don't get it.
It's wireless. Imagine invisible lines through the air.
So ich weiß, da muss radios, man soll sich schon anmischen in the police radio.
So if you go online and you look at flight routes from New York to Los Angeles, flight patterns, you'll see they'll draw a line, what goes where, and there's a whole system how it works. The same thing with shipping lanes. It's just like there's highways. So you don't just start driving through the woods. In the Baldaran. Because you're going to bump into a große Bäum, and the Bäum is going to always win.
Right.
Oh, I've been there. I know. I didn't win.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same down cell phone. That's why when you go to the city, the cell phone service slows down crazy because you have so much more traffic. On a higher traffic time, your cell phone service is going to slow down. But cell phone service works very different, and it's your cell phone versus when you do a play or a big show with like 40, 50 wireless microphones. And on top of that, you still have a bunch of in-ear wireless systems as well that work the opposite way. All of that has to be on the dot. There cannot be any cutouts, any interference.
Okay, so meaning on clean. That no interference in the traffic and the whatever.
Well, no interference in the show. The audience doesn't want to hear any problem.
But okay, fine. So deze is, so deze are tired mic, nog a tired mic, nog meer, right?
Yes. So Hubma mic, a wireless system that can handle in Manhattan or in certain areas in New Jersey or Connecticut where there's high traffic areas for wireless frequencies, you got to go with the top most expensive systems. Otherwise, you're gonna clash.
Die Suchsprecher haben nice, aber noch kein Mensch gewusst. Ich habe gemeint, a wireless Arbeit, so basically, du so wireless, dort nicht du a Stickel, so wireless, whatever. Die suchst mir, hey, wenn die kommst tun in a größer Platz, du kennst dann Sach Traffic in the wireless?
Yeah, so there's something called an RF engineer. And there's a reason why these people exist. And on a big show, you hire a guy, his whole job is to sit and monitor the wireless. He has a computer with software and equipment that are monitoring the entire time what comes and goes. I have wireless systems from Shure. They're called the Axient. They have the capacity of switching seamlessly between frequencies in the middle of the show while you're up there talking. And it's all encrypted end to end. But even if something is encrypted, if that chain gets broken, like I saw you last time in person, you had this little wireless microphone.
Right.
How far does that mic work for you?
I don't know. Ga eens doen en gelijk is whatever.
It works 20, 30 feet, right?
Okay.
After that, it's probably done. But if you go online and you look at the specs, what is it going to say? That it works up to 100 feet, right? Okay. What's the reason it drops out at 30, 40 feet?
Nee.
Because there's something blocking. So that's why you need more power to get from point A to point B with a wireless, and then you have to find the lowest traffic to go through.
Okay, so ein Regel. So blocken can meinen, nicht kann physical, nicht alle wie eine Treize blocken.
Physically can block as well, yes, because
Like what?
wireless and so there's different types of wireless, but the wireless that the microphones use are technically line of sight, which
Mhm.
means they need to see each other point to point,
Okay.
line of sight. So the second you block the line of sight, you diminish the capacity by a very
Lot.
percentage.
Okay,
Maybe
so welke Sache can blocken? Dan moest give me an example. Cell phones?
physical barriers, cell phones, yes, because even though cell phones is nicht in the frequency range was nets, it's still using a lot of traffic through the air. So pre-show, when we set up a wireless system for a large show with 30 plus wireless, the second we go over 30, that's where the problems come in. Second you go over 30.
Arige, 30 what?
Wireless channels.
Okay.
So
okay.
20 is already tricky, but 30 is where it really starts to get very tricky.
I didn't know that. Wow, deze apples was
Yeah,
weiß nicht.
I've done a lot of shows where, and so there's something called the noise level of how much traffic there is in the air. So when the room is empty, so you're going to have an empty room and you have a pretty low noise level. And once the room fills up with people, everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's cell phone isn't just a cell phone, but they have Bluetooth, and Bluetooth can run from 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. Everybody has communication systems. And hey, somebody just gave you $2.
Oh yeah, Moishe Naiman. Thank
You're not
you.
as broke as you were a second ago.
Yeah, it's $2 and something.
So
Thank you, Moishe Naiman. Thank you, I appreciate it.
yeah, the noise level goes up by a lot. So we have to compensate for that.
By the way, this is kind of crazy interessant is because iedere mind, I don't know,
And to be
wireless.
honest, I'm not even going into too much detail right now, and and there's so much that goes into it. I am not a wireless engineer. I kind of play the role sometimes because I don't have a choice.
What's coming to let's say, it's too veel traffic, like, what's tip man?
You find the best frequency, and by getting a wireless system that's capable of doing more with less, you up your chances by a lot to have a successful show. But the problem is those systems cost a lot more money. So that was a huge investment I made in the last couple of years, was to upgrade wireless systems.
Okay, wow. So what happened by dinner, Benayoil, wireless? Is game wireless or no?
We for regular dinners, I try not to go wireless. I try to go wired microphones. If you're going wireless, I try not to.
Okay, so the mushel,
I
the
try to
house
stay away
wireless.
as I can.
Ich habe kein Mensch gewiss. So, dann musst du, lass mal sagen, du hast Dinner, du habe ich eine Show, ja? Aber der Dinner hat man die Clip Mics. Mit einem Mix.
But whenever we do, yeah.
Okay, so lass mal sagen, die größten Shows, die Interns mit whatever, Galamoid. Muss man sagen, du hast wireless engineer in the back?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of big wireless shows, but the one that the audience here might remember, Yiddish Nachas, Chalamoid Paisach. It was Yiddish Nachas, and Mandy Hershkovich did a concert in the Ritz Theater in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I do all the sound for Mandy Hershkovich for the past 2 years. So we used over 30 phones plus a lot of, I think, 12 wireless in-ear systems sending sound for the wedding. So we had somewhere close to 50 channels, individual channels of wireless. So I had somebody sitting backstage with a computer plugged in. All these wireless have Ethernet ports. So, and you monitor on the software, and you use the same antennas to scan constantly for interference. So I had somebody backstage the whole time because they had, I think, 14 or 15 kids, and everybody had a pack with a wireless, and everybody had an earpiece as well. And then we had, I think, 6 or 7 main singers, and each main singer has a wireless microphone and an earpiece. And we also had for the producer of the show that sits in the back and watches it from the crowd's point of view, giving commands to everyone in their ears, which is called a talkback. We probably had, I think, 3 or 4 wireless talkbacks. It was a lot of channels. I don't even remember. I can go look up how many. So yeah, that that show had somebody there the whole time. Every show where we exceed about 30, for me it's 30 channels.
Wow.
Where I'll bring in an RF engineer to sit there the whole night. Otherwise, you're taking a risk of ruining a show. And this technology was available years ago, but it wasn't as mainstream as it is today. Today, it's more mainstream.
So what's my let's say a good system versus a bad system? Was aan the up-to-date system?
Um, so there are a few companies that are considered like in the top when it comes to wireless systems. Shure, in a lot of people's eyes, and including mine, is number one. Then you have, I think, Sennheiser is a very close second. I'm not gonna say that Shure is a way above everybody else. Some people do say that. I'm not gonna say that because I believe that Sennheiser is just as good. And there's another brand called Electrosonic. It's not very popular with people that are not in this field because when you have any other wireless mic on stage, the capsule on top, you can put whatever capsule you want. You can have a Shure Beta 58, or you can have an SE, whatever your favorite microphone is, you can buy that capsule for a wireless attachment and put that on top of it. So that's why the public, when they see wireless, they look at the capsule and they always think, oh, it's a Shure. Just because it says Shure on top doesn't mean that the wireless piece. It could be Shure, it could be Sennheiser, it could be Electrosonic, it could be some people don't realize, but Sony makes top wireless systems. Audio Technica makes one of the best wireless systems. Their 8,000 units are amazing. AKG. There's another one that I forget the name, but I think they went out of business recently, or somebody else bought them out. But there's a lot of brands out there that make really good wireless systems.
So een second. So what bedoel ik als literally every year the company's upgrading and it feels like a need to upgrading?
Not every year. This is something that is between 10 and 20 years. There's also, like today, because it's all computerized, there's constant software updates. So I had a show, a big play at the end of. I do plays for camps and schools, and I did a couple of plays last year. And at the end of the summer, I did one big play, and I started having a lot of issues. Thank God, all the shows were successful, but I realized in the middle that we were having issues. We had to do too much work in the background to keep the wireless system, and it got me a little. I wasn't really sure what the problem was, because you can have an issue with cables. A bad antenna cable can ruin the entire wireless system. So I wasn't really sure what to think, because on the computer end it all looked good. So it turned out something had popped up, some sort of issue in the wireless range of UHF popped up in that area, which there was a software update that fixed it. So we did 4 straight nights, 4 straight days, a day show and a night show. And between day 3 and 4, I decided to update all the wireless. I sat there for about 6 to 8 hours. Like, we finished the show, I think 12:30, 1 a.m. And I sat there. I sent the workers home, because there's no point in just keeping a bunch of guys on payroll for that. And I updated everything. I was there like till the morning. I went home, got a couple of hours of sleep, and went back to work.
Okay, I second.
And that eliminated the entire issue we were having. It was something, because it's constantly evolving. So every time there's an issue pops up, wait a couple of weeks and there's a software update that fixes it. How they do that, how they write the code, I don't know. I don't write code. I don't know. So
Right. So okay. So ein second. So die leent zich, I guess, jeden Tag wegen Sound, right? Die leent zich meer en meer. Die bist in de show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
I learn every day.
Okay. So when die bist daaraan in the sound, als die kent sound.
No.
So you didn't know
No.
sound, but
When I was a kid, I resented the business. Man had het eens gedaan. So I remember man had beginnen vanaf een job eenmaal. And
welke job is het geweest?
I think it was, I don't remember. There were a few jobs where I don't remember, but there were a few jobs. I might be wrong.
That's
But
of mission the memory.
somebody is asking if we're Jewish. I don't know. It's a mystery if we are or not.
I
don't know if you remember this wedding. There was a wedding. What used to be a Terrace of Rome in Williamsburg.
Goudstein?
No, they closed the place. They're renovating it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what the future plans for the place is, but the place operated for about 20 years into Yankee Hirsch, and he did a great job. Before Yankee Hirsch leased the space for Satmar, when it was still in the construction process, they called it Ateris Yoel.
Okay.
And Satmar and Bobov, I don't know how many people remember this, but Satmar and Bobov made a chasana.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 1997 or 1998.
Okay. Satmar and Bobov?
Yeah.
Oh,
at that point, dat ze nog gehad the Bobov hebben, the Satmar hebben. So they were expecting a big crowd, and Ateris Avroam, well, back then Ateris Yoel was bigger than it was once again Azal, because the whole entryway didn't exist. It was just the steps came directly into the main room.
Okay.
They built that whole section on after, because there was nothing really structural in that. So that whole thing was open. So the place was about 6,000 or 7,000, 8,000 square feet. I know there's a big jump between 6, 7, and 8,000. It was almost double the square footage of what a Terrace of Rome actually was. So it was a big place. And they needed a big place to do the wedding in. there was actually a problem with the air conditioning during the wedding. They ended up taking out like 150 people of heat stroke and dehydration. Some of them had to go to the hospital. Some just were treated on site and were able to go.
Eine is ook the oldest son of the Baba Rebbe, I think.
This is a long time ago. There's a lot of jogging my memory. This thing is 27 years ago, 28 years ago. It's a very long time.
Was het interesting to
I'm not that
hear?
old, but you know, it's time flies. So at that wedding, I remember that was one of those jobs where my father wanted to show me, like, I want you, wil zoals toch leren.
Okay.
I have no interest. I'm never going to be in the sound business.
A second, bis gewein a Bucherl, oder a jingle, like what?
No, I was what, 12 years old at the time. I don't know. I remember what year it was.
Okay.
I don't remember how old I was. I think it was like 10, 11. No, 11. I think it was around that age. Don't remember. It all depends what year it was. So I always told my father that I had no interest in learning anything about sound. Anything about his business, I did not want to know about. I always told him that as a kid.
So 1 second. Dan tata dat je dan can get sound?
He knew sound very well. He always knew sound very well. The thing that my father knew very well sound. One of the biggest issues a lot of people had with him, and I think he would agree if you asked him, if someone gave him their opinion, like today in sales and in business, the customer's right. And the truth is, the customer is not always right, but you have to treat the customer like he's always right. 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe some into the 90s, you were still able to get away with telling the customer, you're wrong, I'm the professional, I'm going to tell you. So my father always had that attitude. And I'm not trying to diminish my father or talk bad about him, because he's a great man and I love him, but it was something that him being born and
Right, but in reality, this is nicht gerecht. Like maybe it's not perfect. Like it's a different way of communicating.
When he was younger and started out in business, back then it was very common for a professional to tell the client and the customer, it's to tell them what they need versus the customer telling you what they need. So
right. A second. Dan dat
it's a generational difference.
Right, it is. But
I'm a millennial technically, and he is a boomer. So
1 second. Laat me gaan een second start. So die bist aan de sound beëdig in de die zoekt late 1990s.
No. I told a story about that happened in the late 1990s. I started, I think it was 2000. 2006, I think, about that. Yeah, 2000, 2005. The first time I worked for my father was mid 2000s. I don't remember what year.
So let me ask you. Dan tatten moesel, ja?
Yeah.
Ik ken sounds dat van de 60s ook, ja? Van de 60s, dat er de eerste job, 1969?
Yeah.
So, en je kent, I guess, we zitten in de history nog?
So, Satmar, I don't know all the details. I've heard the story a little bit here and there. But from what I understand is Satmar, you know what Kufalov Kislev is, right? You grew up in Satmar, so
Right.
anyone that didn't, Kufalov Kislev is when the old Satmar Rebbe was He got saved from the Nazis somehow. There's a whole story about it. I am honestly, they taught it to me when I was young, but I forgot the story.
Maar die ken je hem bijna, ken je hem best op kisla meer.
The event, maybe, but the history and the story as to how he got on the train to get out of the camp he was in and whatever happened there, he got to the Allies side where the Allies were already advancing through Europe. People, I don't know if people are familiar with the history of World War II. The Allies landed on the beaches of Normandy. End of 44.
Okay, whatever. So I second. So dan dat 1 second. So dan dat is
he got
aan.
to that side anyway.
Okay, so 1 second. 1969.
So since then, when Satmar came here and built up their empire, every year they do an event on that day. So 1969, that day was coming around the corner, and prior to that, there was always issues with the music and the sound.
Big macht sound,
He's going to take it upon himself. He's going to do the sound and take care of the music. And he took some really ancient speakers. Back then they were new, but today they're like ancient. I think I might have. I'm actually in my office, in my shop. I might have a few old ones up on the shelves. I keep some.
Was my demos genits
to make a little bit of like a museum of old sound equipment.
But I second. Goed even spreken. So demo, dan dat ik in speakers, right? Ik in speakers, 1969. Het is gekocht. Je kent demo sound uit. So demo zoals geleerd, maar daar ook like speakers, maar daar ook like
he used to play with recordings. He used to love recording everything, and he used to play with recordings. And he used to edit the recordings. Editing recordings back then with tape, you had to cut the tape. And you had to know a lot more about sound when it came to editing back then than you do today. If not, you made a mess of things, because to remaster, you had to physically cut the time out of the tape. I mean, as a kid, I watched him do that. He used to, now for the last 30 plus years, he uses a software called ProTools. It's used in some of the biggest studios in the world, and it's all on the computer. But before that, before computer and editing, you actually used to cut tape. Like if you've ever heard, like in the film industry, they'll refer to, that got left on the floor of the cutting room. Because in film and in audio, it's tape. And I don't know if I have any tape here in my office, but you used to actually cut. So you did a recording, let's say it's a 3-hour show, all the empty spaces in between, you had to cut that out. So it was a process of cutting out the time, and sometimes you had to add back in time. You had to add a word or a piece of a song that was either re-recorded post-live production, and it was edited back in by splicing in a piece of tape, and then you would run it through an actual system and put dynamic EQs, effects, and re-record that. And sometimes you would have to edit it more than once and cut more than once, and you would have like 5-6 iterations. So he started doing that as a teenager. The other thing was he was a copyist. A copyist is someone that writes notes, but not writes music from start. Not someone that composes music, but someone that takes the finished product and writes it. So he used to do that. He used to write like there's still like to this day a lot of the bands I work with still use some of the sheets that my father wrote. So that's what's called a copyist. So he was writing music, editing audio before he started doing sound. So he already knew quite a bit about the inner
Sound.
workings of it. But it was very simplistic back then because the equipment we use today and what we do today on shows, I mean, look up videos of old big concerts. Like, have you ever heard of Woodstock? I mean, the place still exists. I mean,
Oh, 1969, actually. 1969.
yeah, it was around that time. I don't know if it was 69 or 67. I don't know what year it was, the original Woodstock, but there's a whole history behind Woodstock. But and by the way, there's every year there's a bunch of big festivals upstate. Do you know where it is? It's like I think the 17B.
Okay.
When you
So
go out
ich meiste
to
berg Shua.
104,
Shua weg von Monroe, meine
it's
ich.
about an hour, 10 hour, 15 minutes from Monroe, yeah, without traffic. Lately, traffic, especially in the summer, the traffic is always crazy. So if you look up at like that was like the big concert, like the equipment they had there was nothing. It was just a couple of giant boxes with horns mounted on top, and the Crown 300 amplifier, which was like the amplifier at the time that came out, the latest and greatest. So it was just a very different world. So sound has evolved as far as equipment and technology. Like even subwoofers is something that wasn't really used.
Eine zoekt de gallo.
I'm just trying to see who it is. I think I know who it is. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's yeah, like subs is something that wasn't really used on a lot of big shows till like the 80s. So the whole industry has come such a long way. So
Isaac,
my father operated even into the 2000s in some ways in a very old-fashioned way. So anyone, like I've heard people say that you can't mix and he wasn't very good at sound, this or that. He was very good, better than most people today I know. And some of the top guys I know don't even come close to how good he was and some of the knowledge he has. It was for him to be able to adapt and overcome the technology leaps and bounds that this whole industry came from, like where it started from when he started till into the 2000s. And the truth is,
Okay.
he isn't the only one. Like I know the guy that used to run the ABC studio uh, for like 40 years, and he lost his job to like a 30 something year old because he just wasn't willing to switch to digital. And I worked with the guy. We sometimes hired him. And the world used to be a little more humble back in the day. Today, if someone is working on some fancy job, well, today it's a little bit. The industry has kind of changed, but it used to be like like up until very recent, the guys that were working on some of the higher end shows wouldn't take anything unless you gave them like a ridiculous amount of money.
Mm-hmm. Ein second. So a second. So dan had het omgaan met de sound. And obviously that was nog kan wireless is gewend, right?
There was, there was, but the wireless when I don't know when wireless microphones started. I don't know the history of it. One of these days I'll research it. Just not now. But like the wireless mics that they used during the 80s and 90s versus the wireless that are used today are they're day and night. It's not the same thing. The quality, what it's capable of doing, and you didn't deal with so many frequencies. Nobody had cell phones. Nobody had.
So
Today, every
1960.
building has Wi-Fi all over. Wi-Fi alone can is right in that range. There are wireless TVs that go into that range, into the UHF band. So
Okay, so 1969 dan geweest nog vaak even Kirisio.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So
he was involved in the beginning because he was doing back then the sound job. The sound business was for most of his life a side business. He did construction. He started
really? I
a kitchen
didn't know
business.
that.
Today there's a kitchen business, Salco Kitchens. My cousins run it. My uncle, who used to run it for years, my father's brother, passed away a year or two now ago. I forgot how long ago it's been since he passed. But he started that business originally.
Wait, dan Tata?
What turned into Salco Kitchens? He started in Williamsburg like 40 something years ago. He did construction. He had an electronics store. He had a bunch of other businesses.
Oh, it sounds geweest on only one was whatever.
No.
Okay, so
like I said, sound was more of like a hobby for him. Like even when sound became more of the main thing, we used to do tapes, cassette tapes. Like we would copy cassette tapes and package it and sell it, either for someone else or the Satmar stuff my father would sell himself, or sell it to the guys that sell it in the show or whatever. So yeah, that was the CDs. We never entered into the CD business, and the CD, the whole CD industry was very short-lived anyway. But yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, I used to run the duplicators for the cassettes all the time. I probably made thousands and thousands of tapes, of cassette tapes.
So let me
in the 90s and early 2000s.
So dan Tata 80s, 90s. Hoe zit het demos routine? Basically getien nur like the Hasidische jazz, PlayStation demos geweest?
Yeah. He used to do a lot of plays. I mean, he used to own the rights to a lot of the recordings of the plays, which he sold the rights to them 15, 20 years ago. He sold the rights, I think, in 2009 to L'Chaim Distributors. He sold the rights to a ton of plays. I don't know how many. And the truth is, they didn't make much of it ever. I mean, the number wasn't that crazy anyway.
Fair.
The Jewish industry and the demand for these plays weren't that big. The people that wanted it really wanted it, but they weren't ready to spend.
So the mushel dan Tata en maar the sounds. So let's say when is geweest de eerste move was okay. So I think die bestaan the business van. I think 2005, 2006. But in the 90s is schon gewusst von sound. Das schon geweest dat.
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention. I had no interest in it. I was a kid, and like I said, I always told my father, I'm not interested.
So welke dat had ik competition demos 90s, 80s.
There was always a little bit of competition, but real competition didn't start till I think the late 90s. If something like a lot of times people used a lot of non-Jewish companies, like competition within the Jewish community, another Jewish sound company. There was a guy named Heckner, I think Jonas Heckner.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still around, what he does today. He did sound in Lubavitch, and he was located in Crown Heights. He started, or his father started around the same time as my father. I don't know if he's still in business. I have no idea. But yeah, like I think he was like there may have been one other, but they weren't like there were a few here and there, but where it really started was like late '90s, where other guys in the community
So,
decided to come into this.
okay, and wat ze
So
gevraagd voor
at a
jobs?
certain point, like my father was the sound guy, and there was a guy that did video. I forgot his name.
Video which year?
He probably started doing video around the same time my father started doing sound.
Really?
From Crown Heights. I forgot his name. We actually did a lot of work together with the guy. He's retired from this business now, I think, as well, for a couple of years. His business is now run by a different guy. There was some internal. It's not something I can talk about because I don't know. I really don't know the ins and outs of it. I just know that he had a guy that worked for him. Basically, now has a big production company that I don't know. I don't really know what the ins and outs of that whole relationship or transaction. So, I don't know what happened exactly there, but I'm trying to remember his name.
Ich will fragen etwas sagen. Geht in the sound, but the most that in the 90s, it's enough slug mit der competition to become out with a job.
Rarely ever. And he used to give Satmer because he felt a close relationship with Satmer.
Okay.
He used to give Satmer dirt cheap prices. He didn't, because it wasn't his primary business until a certain point. He used to give away the jobs for the cost, for his cost. Most of the jobs, like when I first started hearing numbers of some of the jobs he did in the '70s, '80s, and '90s. Remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember the Rebische Chasanas they used to do in the Marcy Armory or in the other armory in on Bedford.
Okay, yeah.
So, just without knowing anything, if you had to guess a number, how much a sound job in a building
I
like that,
don't know. I don't know.
like think of just industries and work and what things cost, and I mean, take into consideration that inflation. Like you used to be able to buy a Nissan Altima for $16,000 in 2000. So the 1990s, it was probably cheaper at that point. Like cars in the '70s and '80s were like a couple of $1,000s, and
Right.
how were like
So get going.
it was very different.
Eine schreibt 80K, eine schreibt 95K.
Today, yeah, back then they were like $4,500.
Wow. Why? Because he felt connected to them
Yeah, he had no interest in making any money. The money went to paying the workers and the equipment that he rented because he didn't own enough equipment back then to do an armory building by himself because he didn't need it all year round. And for the 2 to 3 times in the year, it wasn't worth in his opinion, it wasn't worth buying it. I think if he would have bought it, he would have had more
let
work.
me ask you something else. When had er gedacht kaufen neue equipment in the 90s? Wie ist er das gegangen kaufen?
He always bought direct. He would always call the manufacturer.
Oh
And
yeah?
to this day, I have relationships with manufacturers. I buy direct. I know a lot of my competitors, some companies that are even bigger than me and have more purchasing power than me, that cannot get to the manufacturers directly, and I can. And some of them buy through me because I can give them a better price.
So einige manufacturer might end up in the United States, or I guess
back in the 80s and 90s, there's still a lot like JBL used to be built in the U.S. Crown used to be built in the U.S.
And today,
China, Mexico.
Oh, really?
South America, I think in Brazil they build some of these now. JBL is between. I don't think anything from JBL or the entire Harman Group, which like Crown and JBL and Soundcraft, it's all under the same umbrella company. There's like a few big companies that own now. So Samsung, Bosch, and
Bosch is German.
Yeah. Samsung, Bosch, Yamaha. Who owns? I think it's. I don't remember who owns Music Tribe, but those they're the companies that basically own all the companies in the entire production world.
And I think, is it true your father used to build his own speakers?
Yeah, of course.
It's a Kent.
How do you build a speaker?
I don't know.
It's wood. It's wood. The best quality speakers are wood. You can a plastic mold is a whole different story. The lighter, cheaper speakers are plastic molded. But yeah, he used to build out of wood, and because he used to build cabinets, and he like if you ask my father, he'll tell you he's a carpenter by trade, because growing up, his father had real estate, and he and his brother used to go around maintaining the apartments. So even though at home he played with music and editing audio, he who my father is, his name is Yossi Sandel. Some people know him, some people don't. Some people remember him, some people.
Aber das verstehe ich nicht. Wenn man sieht, sieht man dich genannt hat in the by the sound, nein?
It's a big world out there, even in the Jewish world. And also the thing is, like, my father hasn't been seen that much for the past 20 years. Like once he started to drop off, and once I started taking over, I was never interested in being the face of anything. I wasn't in it for glory. I was in it for business. And my father was never in it for glory either. It's just people knew his face because he was always front and center. How do you handle stress? I don't.
No, but this is a big event.
Oh, man.
This is a big event. This is a cash with this guy to Mao.
I don't have my. This is very thin. That's how I handle stress.
But this is, by the way, a starke Sache. And this probably can auch sein wegen the wireless. Also lass mal sagen, die hast ein riesige Dinner in Mike's Hafen.
Mike's Hafen is a very different reason for what's Mike's Hafen. It's called feedback, and feedback is basically creates a loop.
Okay.
So I'm sure someone that's a professional might think that I might disagree with how I'm going to describe it, but basically, so you know that the noise level in the quietest part on the planet is like 32 decibels. Just everybody can download a decibel meter on their meter app on their phone.
Right.
Take it out in a quiet room or go out into an empty field, and you're going to have sound, because the planet creates noise. Nature creates noise. The sun during the day in an empty field, it's louder than it is at night. The sun creates noise. We don't hear it. We're used to it. There is, I forgot which university built a room and they got it to under 10 decibels. And the most a person can stay in that room before freaking out is like a couple of minutes.
I
Most
saw
people
it's a
can't.
room in the restaurant in.
Yeah, most people can't stand in that room for more than 30, 40 seconds because you always need your eardrums need noise. Your hearing needs noise. So a person that comes from the city, upstate, for the summer, the first couple of nights probably has a problem falling asleep because they're used to more noise. Somebody's laughing at how I'm describing it, I guess. So the reason I'm saying that is because feedback is created by ambient noise levels, creating a loop. Noise goes into the microphone, it comes out of the speaker. The microphone picks it up and passes it back to the speaker. But it happens very fast. So it takes a second to go, and it depends on the frequency. Sometimes it will be low rumble. Sometimes it will be a very high pitch frequency. So one of the first things to do in a room before even, so today, a lot of times, most jobs, you have someone mixing sound. But before the guy that mixes sound, me just as a sound technician, like if people ask me, "Are you a sound engineer?" I say, "I'm a sound technician." Yes, I mix quite a few shows still to this day, not as much because that's not my main interest. I'd rather other people do that. So whenever I mix, people are always like so surprised. Oh wow, you such a beautiful job. I didn't know you mix. I didn't know you could do it. That's fine. I'm good making money as a sound provider. I mean, I'm making loads of money, but I'm looking to increase sales. But tuning the room to the resident frequencies is what usually gets done prior to anything. And the better quality microphone, the better quality speakers, the better quality cables, the better quality your entire system is, the better your chances of getting a clean sound without feedback. The older speakers weren't as clean as the newer ones are. The older microphones weren't as good as the new ones are. The older preamps weren't as good. And I know if my father would see this right now, he would probably get angry. What are you talking about? They were just as good. Sorry, they weren't. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, the Shure 58 is 30 years old and it's still pretty much the same product. But other than that microphone, what else has lasted that long? Not much. Most microphones today from 30 years ago are long gone. And even a 58, people don't realize this, but even microphones that are still popular today that were designed back then are tuned and built with more advanced materials and tuned better than they were years ago. You Shure has this whole thing about taking older 58s and comparing it to newer ones, but you'll never see them compare a 1980s microphone or a 1990s. They'll Yeah, at that point, you only have like a 20-year-old 58 and a brand new 58 should be pretty similar. But there is a magnet in there with a small diaphragm, and that diaphragm and magnet do lose they do get fatigued.
Let me ask you, Anne Freek, what's your biggest event you ever had?
Size an event can be in a few different ways. Is it manpower, equipment, crowd?
Men, equipment is interessant. Die misst da rausrenten Equipment, nein? Was kommt ja so Platz?
Today, not so much. I mean, today I can do very large venues or outdoor events by myself with my own equipment. I have a decent audio inventory. I mean, I'm always expanding and building up as the business, the whatever is required. It's hard to say. Equipment. Now, what I did or what my father did.
Okay, maar dan dat ook.
So there was one. There was what's it called? This happened. I think it was 2014 or 2015. We did. No, I never did anything with Trump. I voted for him. You can disagree on that or not. That's up to you. But I think it was 2014 or 2015.
Which event?
Agilis Yisrael in Manhattan. They did a job where we covered over a mile on, and I think equipment-wise, that probably was the most audio equipment we had to roll in, heavy equipment.
Wo ist es Agilis Yisrael?
Agilis Yisrael. Not an organization that's aligned, so that kind of makes.
Okay, so but dan dat de get geschasheerd. Ich meine, dit macht any sound, any event?
He cared a little more than I do. I take anything, whatever, as long work is work. Everybody's money is green. I'll be honest. I've done some work in places where I did not like the environment. I walked out and told my crew, "Good luck. It's on you guys. I'm out."
Okay.
Because it was way too cringe for me. I'm talking about non-Jewish events and certain
die was big ogen wat de gooi, maar like stark.
No, but I do get a certain amount of work, and I've done some work on parades. With certain communities that can be controversial.
Sandel speakers.
So I'll take their work. So I don't want to trash them because anything on the internet just stays there. So, but I wasn't very happy with the images that were starting to appear, the people, and what I was seeing. So that
Wow, so I think from week like advertised.
Most of my business is word of mouth. So, like, I built relationships with other companies, and sometimes at this point, there are smaller companies, and like, there's one company in Passaic, New Jersey, and one in Philadelphia that they'll call me for their larger jobs. They'll sub out work for me when they can't handle it. They'll rent equipment from me. So a lot of different events, different. Anyway, I'm not gonna go to the detail.
Right, but so I second. Let me go for a second. Switch in a second. Says do sound, right? Sound.
Yeah.
So do what else? Video. This is video. Right?
Light.
And by the way, how stuck in the moest laten we zoeken de zoeksasten moest Trump als niet gemaakt, because I guess Trump had zijn eigen company or nein. Jeder wil hem maken.
So it all depends. Like one of my competitors at the same time, he's a friend of mine, Yossi Sandel.
Right.
If you know him, he has a company. His company is called Stage. He did a job for someone hired him to do a job in New Jersey during about a year ago that Trump attended on the campaign trail. So it wasn't Trump hired him to do that specific job. And I think Simon, I think there have been a few other of my competitors that have good relationships with. Not all my competitors. Just because someone is a competitor doesn't mean that I don't like them or I have a bad relationship. I have a good relationship with a lot of my competitors. I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of them I have good relationship. A lot of them I don't know.
So samen team, because stel maar zo,
Yeah,
de
it
campaign.
just didn't. No one within those circles. 2020. There were there in 2020. I was supposed to do not one but multiple events directly for the Trump organization for the campaign. But I ended up there was a contract dispute, not with me, but with the person that was gonna give me the contract. So that whole thing kind of fell apart, and someone else, a non-Jewish company, ended up having all those jobs.
Okay, so switching topics a second about Seven Springs.
Yeah.
Ich denk, dass mich ein gesucht als
I
when
say a
when
lot
die
of
bis wenn die bis gewesen klein, is geen Zeitsachen wo der Lektor schoos gelassen.
back then, yeah, because
En hoe is het gewesen met wie andere plekken? At this point, Seven Springs is een normale plaats. Zijn ze dan als wie
it's
oud?
not Seven Springs isn't the only place that's used to happen a lot in generally in rural areas across the United States. It still happens to this day quite often. It's just because there's so many people living now inside the village and in the village of Monroe. People don't realize the village of Monroe also has a lot of people. Like
Right.
it's not just Kiryas Yoel mit alle Yidden, but there's also a lot of non-Jewish people that live, maybe as many Jews, if not more, that live in the surrounding towns and villages. So the infrastructure has been bolstered by a lot. So the transformers used to be severely undersized, and this happens across the United States in a lot of places. The poles need to get changed out. So in cities and highly populated towns and communities, newer communities, all the power is on the ground. And they put in big enough transformers because people have a lot of electronics, use more air conditioning. When I was a kid, we had, I remember the first air conditioner we used to have, like, we went from one air conditioner in the dining room. That's it.
What do you mean? Beglau ein?
Yeah. Like in the
Why?
early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, we had in the dining room one air conditioner. I mean, late 80s, I was too young to remember, but like early 90s. And then my parents got in their bedroom somewhere in the late 90s an air conditioner.
Wow.
Then we
Nice.
slowly all got air conditioners in our bedrooms.
So you're not
But
luxury air conditioners, you're not luxury?
yeah, a lot of things used to be luxuries. People do not realize, you know, I love my daughter, and I look at my daughter, and I sometimes I try to. She's turning 8 in 2 months. I try to explain her a little bit how things were different. Like, she thinks I grew up in the Stone Ages, I guess. But people do not realize how much. People forget how much the world has changed in the last 35, 40 years. Air conditions window units became more popular, more affordable, more energy efficient. Window units used to cost a lot of money. And they
Oh,
weren't.
really?
Yeah, you weren't before Walmart and all the big box stores opened up locations everywhere. You had to go to Sears. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, we still went to Sears. I remember when they built Home Depot. Um, Home Depot was the first store they built on Larkin.
Wie's
Of
Green
all those
Sears?
stores.
Wie's Green Sears
The
located?
closest Sears was in Middletown at the Galleria Mall, I think. I might be wrong. It might be Goshen, but I think that was the closest. Then you had man, there was one store I used to actually love that store because they sold a lot of interesting stuff, and like that went out of business a couple of years ago. They sold electronics. Like if I needed any kind of soldering stuff, they sold all of that. They had like little tiny capacitors and fuses, batteries.
Radio Shack? No.
Radio Shack.
Oh, okay.
Like that shows you how much the U.S. has lost in its industrial base. The fact that a Radio Shack, and it's not just that, but with technology, that a Radio Shack isn't relevant. Well, okay, now whatever you want, you can buy on Amazon.
Okay, so damals is nicht gewähnt ist, but damals hat's got that feel. So let's say als gewollt kaufen the mushel a window unit, hat's got mehr a feel. Wir sagen in Sears, man kauft a
You went to
unit.
Sears and you spent you made much less money then and spent way more for electronics. I was looking through YouTube and someone was or Instagram, I don't remember, and I saw someone was posting old videos of like IBM and Macintosh advertising their latest computer, and it's like 10,000, 12,000. Yeah, computers that are useless today. The cheapest smartphone today has more computing power than those crazy computers. Where they used to cost like 10 grand.
Mm.
You,
But I
when you
check,
demand, you have to wait like 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes, but
wieveel kost the mushel
like you had a floppy disk with a couple of megabytes. I mean, it was a very much a different world. So
right.
I know Yiddish.
And
I'm much
effect,
more
yeah.
comfortable speaking in
In
the
Goyish.
American language. I'm an American.
Laat me toch vragen, wieveel kost damals a window unit in the early 90s?
I don't know. I was a kid, so I don't know what the prices
Because
were. I
because
do
the
remember that it was a luxury item. You can go. You could probably Google that in 5 seconds, find out.
yeah, because I'll tell
I'm
you
not
what.
trying to tell you. You asked me a question about the power grid, how bad it used to be, and it wasn't because the power grid was bad. It was just the local infrastructure was garbage. So
Wat wunsch je macht auf Seven Springs aan? Dat is nog
yeah, everything got redone. Everything got
really?
redone. Yeah. The diameter of the wooden poles that they put up today is larger. It's much better built. Like a lot of people will tell you that things used to be built better. In some areas, yes, but in most areas, that's not true. Things are
Really?
today much better than they used to be built. It's just things used to be used very differently than they used today. So it's a if and plus they have so many formulas today with materials that they didn't have back in the day. So the poles, every time there was a strong storm, power would go out. I mean, almost weekly, bi-weekly, we used to have this, but it wouldn't go
Generators?
for that long. Like they would come out, like Orange and Rockland came out and fixed it very quickly.
And what about generators? Like the regular generators?
So generators is another thing that used to cost a lot more money. Like to give you an example, like get a quiet generator. You used to be able to only buy like a portable quiet generator. You had to buy the Honda, and the Honda was like $7,000-8,000.
Anders, I get the company
Today,
for them.
the Honda is a very good company, but today you go to Harbor Freight and they sell you the Predator for 2,500, and it's quieter and more powerful than the Honda equivalent. And I know because I own both of them. And the Predator, thank God, I've never had an issue with them. They work just fine. I
So
mean, you
but
got to take care, you got to service them, but
okay, but according the split units maar kooi them once again, like welke companies again?
mostly was older split units were mostly Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi was like the king of split units back then. The king of like wall mounted units, window units was there was Frigidaire and uh, Frederick. It's both German companies, I think.
Yeah,
No,
Friedrich.
Frigidaire
Friedrich.
was originally a U.S. company. Now it's probably made in China.
Oh wow. But I second. But
Maybe
device
Germany.
ze do a certain attitude hand that in the Kingston and Home Depot, nicht obviously, it's obviously an American thing. It's nicht in the Europe as it's treffen. Es kommt daran, gehst du sehen für 30 Baxes, 30 Air Conditions ausgelegt, $99, gehst du kaufen dos, gehst du stippen an the windows, mach doch Geld darum.
Yeah.
Amul was serious it is nicht gewesen.
No, I mean, it's it's hard to remember, and it's like this with everything. When I was a kid, my father didn't have a cell phone. Today, everybody has a cell phone, and no one can go anywhere without their cell phone. You remember public phones?
Yeah, sure, but the gas, Nevada.
Yeah. Can you still find a public phone today?
By the way, that is nog of Salmon Springs.
Yeah, he still lives there.
I think his hand is an expensive lot.
Yeah, it's valued at at more than what it probably should be.
It's a koif vem. It's weggehuurd is a koif.
I think 1990.
Oh, late.
Yeah, no, I think 90. 1990. Yeah.
Dan moet ze gewoon zeer weinig mensen omgewoond hadden,
Or
right?
no, 1991. 91. I think he bought it in 91. There was still a lot of non-Jewish neighbors in that area.
En is het gewoon natural gas?
No. I remember when they put the natural gas in. That was, I think, 95 or 96.
Wow, because at this point heb je geen natural gas though.
Where you live, you still don't have.
Besides,
The only reason they'll bring in natural gas if they see if it's worth it. And everybody had to pay in a certain amount of money for them to install the infrastructure
ze niet kan zeggen de stoot.
No, I think all the neighbors had to pay like a certain amount up front. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. Don't quote me on this. I might be completely wrong, but I think somewhere I think I heard that somewhere. Because when we first moved from Brooklyn to Monroe, we had a propane tank that used to be filled. I don't know if it was bi-weekly or monthly, especially in the winter.
Here, I second. So the ganze
natural gas,
area.
I think, was you got to find someone from that neighborhood that's that's older than me. You know, who will know. Your Bear Green will know every detail of that. I could. My brother Yoeli would probably know, but he hasn't been around for
A few years.
more than 5 years now.
Yeah. Let me so ein second. Mountain ich denkt dat de letzte Hose gewein so dan tat is dorten. So scheint owned a lot of this is basically just the horse.
No, he has it's about an acre. All the properties there were about an acre.
Mhm. But me gewinnt
His
echt
property is a
ugeteilt.
little bit interesting because he has a very wide front, and it goes like a triangle. It goes down
Right.
on one side straight, and one side it's an angle.
Mhm. Jenne ganze area, Seven Springs, Mountain, Irene, is wuss. Het geen goems nog gewoond dat met die camera gemoft.
Yeah, you
In
know
jeder
where?
hoos maar gekauft op een hoek van Agoy.
Yeah, we fact it at Geweint when we moved in there. There was I don't remember their name. Oh, fact it. Um, I don't know if you would remember the no. On Mountain View, there were quite a few. Um,
Wenn dir es gewohnt dat, das gefielt like ugeteilt van de stetel, maar gefielt allein, dat is, volgens mij had ik een paar keer te wonen, deze gedenk ik.
I loved it. I loved it. I hate the city. I'm in the city all the time. But I don't know how people can live in the city, one on top of each other. I mean, even where I live in Muncie, it's pretty packed. I don't like it. I'm looking to move out of the area and a little more secluded. I like that. Like there were no street lights. They started putting up the street lights in that area, and somewhere after 2000. I mean, as a kid, I walked at night. There were no street lights. It was very peaceful.
Wie is gewoond? Welke mine gewoon was tegen zo op een gewoond dat? Welke mine? Het geen buff, regular American people, or is het
Yeah,
gewoon...
but they were very nice. We didn't have any problems with them. They wanted nothing to do with us because they you know what? At this point, I was too young to say who didn't want to do anything with anyone because the Hasidim don't want nothing to do with anyone that's not a Chosid. Why?
Right.
Because I'm gonna stop
Whatever reason.
before I lose my whole business in the Hasidic world.
Geer. Maar die is ook, zeker, zoals ik weet, wie hem zeggen mof? Let's say, zeg maar, weg mof van dat, because die in zijn een wie zijn zijn gangen?
I don't know. From what I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that most of them relocated like within within like 5 or 10 miles of the area
Mhm.
where they lived. They just wanted out of that neighborhood because it became, I don't know. It just, you know what, this is not really a topic I want.
Geer, right. But goed ik vragen
Yeah.
dat. Wenn die bist in Salmon Springs Mountain, die is geen nu ein Shield, dat is bij Hoods, maar dat is nog geen dat offen.
No, no, Sigurvein, no. Hood started somewhere in the 90s.
En wie me gedaan
Somewhere
vader?
in the, oh, the Yossi Schwartz's that building was built in the late 80s, early 90s.
Maar dat gedavond?
Yeah, that for a short period of time there used to be that was like the place. That's the place where me and a few other kids found a bee's nest in the ground, and I came home with like 200 something bee bites. A couple of kids had to be taken to the hospital. Uh, Because I don't even remember it because I guess I was too young to remember it, or maybe the pain was so much that my mind just blocked it out. I just I, I remember before it happened, and I remember after.
Wow, it's waar. Als dat B-Bites
It was like
that.
I think like 200 plus B bites were counted on me.
Oh my god, it's
It
just
was
terrible.
great because I don't know if you've ever seen like bees can build underground nests like crazy big, like millions of bees. If you look up the people that have these bee channels on bees, it's very interesting. But I was 5 6 years old. And what the hell did I know about bees? It was me and Getsy Green and Vice and a few other kids. I don't even remember who. And we took some sticks and poked the bee's nest and saw the consequences.
Is er
And
geen bij Jenne
not
building?
once, but twice. It happened, and not in the same location.
I think is er geen Jenne building in the building in some gedampt in
It was
Praag?
the bee's nest was not in the building. It was next to the building.
By the way, Yossi Schwarz had nog eens gewoond daar, obviously nicht.
No, it was the guy who I don't know. I think his name was. I don't remember what his name was. I don't remember.
Because mijn Benayoel dat de episode ook de history van Benayoel had
Yeah,
gewoon
that was after. There was that whole building. That whole building had like a lot of interesting. It had like an interesting history.
Ruben, Chaim.
Right, Chaim Ruben. Yeah, that's. I was trying to remember his name. Chaim Ruben. Yeah, I don't know. Is he still alive? I have no idea.
Weißt du, Seven Springs gewesen, so ugetat. Heb ik met Shai. Ik denk Shai Shimon was gangster, right?
Yeah, I actually spoke with like 5 minutes before we got on here. Schmillo calls me on a WhatsApp video call with like a whole bunch of other Shimonovich and a bunch of other guys. Like, what the heck are these calling?
1 second. So the people from Seven Springs
Shai
Mountain
lives in Borough Park now.
in Bayswater.
Oh, Bayswater. Oh, that's why the guy put. I thought he put BD or B. Anyway,
BWBS, whatever.
it's all BS.
Right, it's all BS. But in Gazumos, everyone that in Bayswater, ich hate the city. Ich ga in Mansi, ich ga rausgemoft. Ich kenn ich mit der Quadrat.
I don't like it. I don't like it either. Right. That's why I'm looking right now at getting something in a more quiet. I don't like the.
Ja, alsjeblieft.
I'm in
Dit
Brooklyn a
is
lot.
crowded. Die was gewoon lines meer in een stillere plaats.
Yeah, I like quiet. I like just to ground myself and be relaxed. The constant go is just it's too much.
Van die upstate wel gewoon passig. Let's say whatever, like really upstate, like Liberty,
For my personal situation and my business, it's not a realistic goal at the moment that I can accomplish. I would love to.
You would?
If certain circumstances in my life were different, then I would absolutely do it. But
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Geert, welke nachtstores gedenkst by the way, Radio Shack gedenk je? Ik denk wat gered van, like, since you guys are long today, like 15 years ago?
No, I think, I don't know. There used to be a Radio Shack You know where Blockbuster used to be? There was a Kmart there.
Dat.
Jamesway. There's now a Stop and Shop on the 17M.
Margaretha moved in
Right
James
next to
Way.
me. You know where my business is located.
No, I have wie gewijs dat dan is. Of the 17M?
Hold on, I gotta answer. Hold on a second. I'm gonna.
Ja, kijk muten. I mean, figure this out. Lighting on. Lighting off.
All right. I have to answer some. Anyway.
Een second. Welke.
So there used to be Radio Shack used to be located there for years. Then they moved their location to you know where Home Depot is on Larkin? On the opposite side towards the road.
Payless?
Opposite side where like Payless is also gone now. Now there's like a fast food place.
Wendy's.
Wendy's, yeah. I think that's where. Hold on a second.
The city's business. Echt even. Investeren zijn.
Yeah, no, I actually supposed to go soon. Meet up with my crew, taking apart a job.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
I mean, they have it under control technically, but the last couple of weeks I've been trying to work a little more because I've been sitting around doing only office work and very little physical work, and that's not good. So
Okay.
instead of the gym.
But it is work, huh? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's physical work, a lot of physical work.
So a second. Ze geven.
Yeah, there used to be a Radio Shack there for a while. Yeah, I mean, everything constantly changes and evolves. You know, I mean,
Right.
20 years ago, if I told you anything about Amazon, it was all books online. Nobody cared about anything else. Today, Amazon is huge. They're one of the largest companies in the world. I don't know if they're one of the largest. They are definitely one of the 100 largest, I think. It's constantly changing. I mean, look at Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX, Neuralink.
It's
Starlink.
crazy. But the
I
myth
use
is everything.
Starlink. I'm communicating with you right now through Starlink. I've been using Starlink now for 3 years.
Oh, really? Do you have Starlink?
In my office, yeah. I used to have Optimum. I wasn't very happy. I heard they upgraded recently the business side, just the speeds in the area in general, and they're now very fast. But I used to have a lot of issues.
Die hast jetzt Starlink? Ist es schnell? Is geht? Is es voert?
Have I cut out? Have you
No.
seen any issues with my connection?
Is like the speeds real like is nicht steier heute? Like whatever.
I mean, I can upgrade to have more speed, but I don't need it. For what I have right now, I mean, yeah, it's Without giving away too much, I can show you my Starlink.
Wauw, en dit ligt er af vandaag? Wie ligt er dus?
Yeah, the dish is on the ceiling. It has
En,
a heater. It has a motor. It tilts.
en die kent op. By the way,
I have a mesh system here with the main router and the secondary routers.
die bist located nicht weit von Monroe, nein?
I'm on the 17M. I've been in this place now for quite a few years.
Oh, wow.
Zalman Danziger. I think
Zalman Danziger.
not sure if I know. I know.
Die kent Zalmi. Die kent Zalmi.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time. So,
I said, by the way, gaan ze dan mensen niet naar Starlink, zoals je een draai zoekt, dan is het Starlink, also?
Yeah.
Is that upgrading, the
this
software
whole business,
updates?
like Elon Musk started this whole company in like 2000. SpaceX he started 2002, 2003.
Right, but since nog eens gewenen, so established.
But now they have like 9,000 satellites in orbit. They're shooting rockets into space almost daily.
Für Einsatz hebben we geliefde technology, because technology is good and advanced. So wie du sagst, wir kennen meinen, amol hat man gebot mehr gute Sachen, hatte Sachen besser, in Mo Sachen. Aber von der anderen Seite, the olden days got mehr a feel, like.
Yeah, but it was also more simplistic. I mean, the thing that I personally marvel more than anything else is the mechanical accomplishments. Like if you look at how machinery were built 100 years ago, you can buy a brand new lathe, like you know what a lathe is. So there are different types of lathes. There's for wood, there's for steel, there's for different materials. It's a machine with a cylinder that you either clamp in a piece of, if it's a wooden lathe, a piece of wood or a piece of steel, and you cut it down to size. You can bore a hole through it. You can put threads. Whatever, you can build parts. Or make wooden pieces of like you can do a lot of interesting stuff with a lathe. So if you look at a lathe that's built today, it's gonna have it's gonna measure through laser. It's gonna be computerized. It's automatically gonna move from right to left, and you'll be able to set the RPMs and the speed exactly. And there's so much computing power in it, and it's because they put so much technology. They might be also, the other thing is, like, today when a piece of equipment is built, it's built to the spec that it's supposed to operate as, not more and not less. 100 years ago, when they built a lathe, they built the main piece out of a giant, heavy cast iron piece of steel. And it weighed a ton or more, or a couple of tons, depending on the size of it. And it was heavy as hell for no reason, just the fact that they actually saved themselves money by pouring more steel into the cast than cleaning it out and putting a hole in it. Today, it's all precise. So if the tolerance needs to be at 10,000 inch pounds, it's going to be at 10,000 inch pounds. So, of course, if you're going to try to overstress it, one, the electronic system is going to stop you. And if the electronic system doesn't stop you, then you will physically break the machine. But if you look at the old equipment, it was heavy and overbuilt, but it was, you had to use your head and you had to have good hands and know how to use it.
Right.
Otherwise, it was very easy to mess it up. And it's amazing how well stuff was built back in the day. It was all mechanical. If you look at the Saturn V, you look at rocket ships. I love mechanical stuff. I used to do mechanical work on the side. It used to be my primary job actually for a while. If you look at videos from like Saturn V rocket, it's all mechanical. There's no computer based nothing in that.
Okay, but
It's amazing how.
Right, it's amazing, but die
everyone
wusste
likes
shurigan. But die wusste shurigan na glamshia za mean today all times. Well, they was shurigan
No,
is the
for me,
times from the
for me,
90s.
for me, it's very interesting. For me, it's very interesting. Not everybody cares. For me, that's very interesting. I'm not saying I want to go back to it. I'm just saying that there's reasons why the things are built different. Like you can build something out of carbon fiber. Carbon fiber isn't the strongest people think. It's stronger than just regular acrylic or plastic or ABS plastic, but it's not as strong as aluminum. It's actually much weaker than aluminum. I think the only metal that's weaker than that's widely used that's weaker than carbon fiber might be brass because it's a very soft metal. But even aluminum is stronger. But aluminum weighs double or 2 to 3 times. So the same piece you get out of carbon fiber and out of aluminum, the aluminum is going to be 2 to 2.5 times the weight, but it will be a lot stronger. But you can still build parts out of carbon fiber to take, like if it's rated for 3,000 for 1,000 pounds, the breaking point needs to be 3,000. So like a lot of the fancier cars, to save weight for fuel efficiency, they'll build parts out of carbon fiber.
Mhm.
Not necessarily stronger, it's just strong enough.
Right. Die hast nog
So
die van, van Sandel Speakers, die is terug in de alte Sprinter is geweest, was ze.
I have a van, but it's a 2020 Ford Transit, and then I have other vehicles as well.
Wie vergangen die van, die was als gebrengt de public school test in the 2000 and whatever, and I like the speakers of it.
That van has been sitting dead for 10 years, but it's still and it's not that old. It's a 2000. I mean, it's a 2002. My father bought it brand new.
Oh wow.
Actually, from that other guy in Seven Springs, down the hill, short guy. Oh man, what's Dresner?
Oh, the rest things. Wow.
Yeah, that van has been sitting in my father's. He's actually. I should get someone to just pick it up and scrap that stupid van.
It's like the van, right?
It's been out of commission for 10 years.
Why?
And
So is it full finished?
The oldest sprinters had a lot of issues with a lot of the parts. For the door hinges were falling apart, turbo fell apart, the fuse box, the electronics, a lot of things just went wrong. That van right now, if you want to bring it back to life, you're probably gonna have to spend about $15,000 just to bring it back to life, because it
It's
needs
not
a new
worth it.
differential. It needs an exhaust system. The engine, you might actually be able. It's a diesel engine. You might be able to revive the engine. I know that one of the glow plugs is seized, and it needs to be replaced. Which there are ways to do it. but it's just not worth
It's
that.
interesting that using diesel etwas hat man gemacht, the Trump administration hat etwas aufgemacht, etwas was Biden gelackt, etwas wegen Diesel. So, which means that man recht kann unheimlich the trucks can unheimlich kennen anzüglich Diesel or something like that.
You mean, are you talking about the DAF systems?
Kann sein. So, etwas ich gewähnt, etwas aber geleint als...
The DEF systems have caused a lot of issues in diesel engines. Just a lot of extra headaches that wasn't really needed.
Hoe is het met de alte systems, met de alte speakers, die verkocht op Facebook Marketplace?
I sold a lot of equipment in the last couple of years. Not through Facebook Marketplace. I sold it through people I know. Some of it I sold through Craigslist. I actually have more equipment now that I want to put up on Craigslist. I still have a lot of old equipment that I need to get rid of.
But niet de Goeralte. De Goeralte dan dat is safe, right?
The Goeralte are either in one of two places. They're either in the garbage or they're sitting on the top shelves of the shop for waiting for me to put them into a museum. I have a dream of opening a museum one day.
Ze is niet te staan. Dan moest je wegzagen als dat dan moest.
A lot of stuff. From old amplifiers to old equalizers, compressors, mixers, wireless mics, speakers, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Wow, wat is history, nein? Echt klein, dat is een week waar.
No, if I do have stuff, I'll take like I had a lot of stuff that I had like 10 or 15 of, and I took like 12 of them, put them in the garbage, and kept like 2 or 3 of them.
So dat is toch maar riesige shop, dat is speakers met whatever, right? En op episode berecht, dat is toch een fix that.
I have a couple thousand square feet, nothing crazy.
But it's a lot, no? A couple of
I am eventually going to have to move from where I am now, simply because I'm running out of space. So my place isn't that big. The truth is, for what I have, the place is too small.
But ooit die let's say die tightened in space. Wie kan als er nog plaatsen is like meanwhile?
I usually have one truck that's mostly full of equipment, just so that I can walk through the aisles when it's not busy, when we have to do inventory or maintenance.
When is the busiest site in the Yiddish community with systems? Simpelweg Scheibe, Plays, Chaneke, Pesach, Purim, Gnusavatoides.
Well, there are events every night.
Was bekend die genieten?
Yeah. Bar mitzvahs, weddings, fundraisers, you name it.
Dan had ik gaan daarop zie de plaats. Dit is nou, dit is zo'n shot.
He's not that young anymore.
Right, but it's like he knows it. You know, gaan we zien bij de show. De show hebben ze opgeteen, of is nooit voor de nummer?
Not really. The show doesn't really do much for me. That type of show, and my father was there more for the nostalgic reason because it's a Satmar show. It's Satmar, so.
Is hij de eerste move eerste move gang show?
No, we've been.
Oh, is hij gegangen?
Yeah, of course. It's the first time that these guys have put together this show,
But dan dat ik kent moest antje heb goische show wat er zamizach.
not as not as a exhibitor, but as just as a not as like I do attend a lot of the shows in the industry.
So ze nicht weet, dat ze nemen as a show and is mention the number. I guess mention them the number, but it's not worth it because Menschen kann ich muss ich wenn ich weiß, wenn die ich weiß, ich muss aber teuer ist, ich weiß Sound, ich weiß perfect sound, but about video,
It,
that's
it,
something else.
I mean, let's say you wanna spend a little bit of money and you wanna do a nice cookout in the backyard of your house one day, and you wanna have a little bit of music with some, and you don't wanna just have a Bluetooth speaker, some cheap thing. You wanna have a nice screen or some lighting that you don't normally have in your backyard. You can call someone like me, or you can call a party planner that will take care of the whole thing. And the party planner will either bring in someone like me or one of my competitors, or
Was ist schon geworden, also wie
there's
jeder
like a
eine
lot
Cash
of
hat.
different. What'd you say?
Na, so dass jeder eine Cash hat bringen a screen mit a mic, mit a bra, mit a bra. Weißt du, ich mein? Es ist geworden sei also wie
Yes and
sei
no. It depends. It depends. It depends how. It all depends how what your budget is and what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. Yeah, there are a lot of guys that go out for very cheap and bring you one or two small screens and a couple of speakers and a couple lights. But that's the most they can provide.
Ich denke, dat is mir
A lot
gesagt.
of
Ich
guys.
weiß, I don't know, how schon viel Jahre zurück. Maar dan ze ranken met lighting. Dus mir gesagt, Menschen ist cheap lighting. Ich needs the best lighting, the best quality lights.
Yes and no, because to be honest, today today you can have the same light with the brand name and buy the Chinese for 5% of the price, and it looks the same. It's built the same. The internals is the same. It's made in the same place.
Even a Chinese product.
Yeah, the Chinese products today, they're getting better and better. The Chinese products have also been rising in price, and not just because of tariffs. People are like, "Oh, tariffs, tariffs, tariffs." A lot of the Chinese stuff have been going up in price simply because as they've become more industrious and as the quality has gone up in China and as the technology has grown, they had to grow alongside with everything else in their economy. People wanted better housing. Everybody wanted cars. People wanted cell phones. So now people want to make more money. Yeah, they still have some sweatshops and stuff like that. Maybe that it's kind of debated whether they do or not. I've never been to China. I'm not gonna demonetize your channel because of China, whatever. China.
China.
uh, but yeah, prices have definitely been going up, and the build quality has come a long way. There are now Chinese companies that are considered brand names.
Apple.
Huh?
Apple.
By the way, Apple does still make a lot of the parts for the iPhone outside of China. Some are made in the US, actually, some are made in Taiwan. And I think Mexico, they make some stuff. So, some of
You
the stuff for like security, they make in other countries.
do you think that at the end of the Trump administration kind of zag companies aan doet zurück?
It depends. It depends on a lot of different variables. And it's hard to say yes or no. I'm not an economist. I am not going to pretend to be one. So I can tell you my personal opinion. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion, There will be way more manufacturing than there is now, but not as much as people hope. There is a big part in the U.S. with labor. There is a shortage of qualified laborers out there today.
Okay.
People are lazy; they don't want to work. Um, Everybody wants to make a lot of money and not do anything. They want to sit home
Right.
and game all day and sit on Twitch and whatnot and watch YouTube all day.
Was my podcast.
Yeah, right. That's the only important part. It's like when you watch Joe Rogan and they're like, people need to get off their phones. I'm like, all right, I'm goodbye. Hey, you told me
Do
to
you
get
watch
off.
them? Do you watch them with Joe Rogan?
So I drive a lot every day. Um, I don't like listening to music when I drive.
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to podcasts. When I work, I love listening to podcasts. Um, is Joe Rogan the only guy I listen to? No, I listen to a lot of people. He's one of them. Like, it depends who his guest is. If he had an interesting guest, one of my favorites is PBD, Patrick Bet-David.
Aber er dreht ein bisschen. Er macht sich jeder gibt dann Show. Er dreht auf jeden ein bisschen.
He can come across as a bit snobbish, I would say, but I understand. I think I understand some of the things he does, and he does I think he does a lot of those things to push people. There's a guy that has a radio show, but he's also putting out his stuff on YouTube called Dave Ramsey, I think is his name.
Budgeting, this is like that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah. I'm like, personally, I don't really listen to his advice, but
Why?
I think he's very smart and he gives great advice. And for the people that need his advice and follow his, because he PBD is going to be the top. Well, he's really good. Um, uh, with 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 Dave Ramsey's system, he puts you, in my opinion, he puts you on a very successful path, but not on a very ambitious path. To be, if you want to, now, I'm by no means Mr. Rich Guy, so I'm not going to give anyone advice. But my opinion, if you're an ambitious person, you cannot really follow his. You can follow some aspects of his advice, because in business you got to take risks, and I'm not the guy that takes that's cautious. It's not always a good thing, because I've overinvested in my business over the last couple of years, and it landed me in more debt than I wanted. But it's not. It's a pretty healthy debt. It's not. I mean, I have equity. It's not. I don't want
Right.
to go into personal stuff too much, but it's different. But for people that, um, for certain small businesses, for people that have 9 to 5 jobs, he gives great advice. And there are other podcasts. I like listening to people that make sense. I don't like listening to idiots. Sometimes I start listening to someone, and after like a few minutes, I'm like, I've had enough of this garbage. That's probably what happens when I listen to you. Oh man, yeah, I was talking about Dave Ramsey. He's a smart guy, but that doesn't mean that that you need to take his advice to heart.
Obviously, but this is kijk gewoon eens oog.
And look, there are some
business.
people that will say that his advice is garbage and this and that. Anyone that says, look, you can give advice from different areas different experiences for different reasons. That doesn't mean when someone gives advice that it's garbage, or when someone says something that it's garbage. I heard a quote from someone saying that whenever he said that something doesn't exist, he was always wrong. Someone always proved him wrong. Everything always exists out there. It's a very general saying, and I'm not even probably saying it correctly, but that's sort of what it is.
Right. Kijk on, it ook a business, so it tries to sell some product. That's what it is, really.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have a radio show and a podcast and put it on YouTube and monetize it and to make money off ads. You know, the whole reason most people do social media is to make money, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is. So,
Right. By the way, dit was een guy, die wurde geschaut, ne? Zoeks mij having a job.
actually, the conversation has been going, and to be honest, I'm kind of lazy right now. I was
You
just
don't want to go there.
everyone is, and I'm lazy too. I'm
So,
probably lazier than most people. I work, but I work lazy, so it's not really work.
it's just meer like it's instead of arbeiten, it's meer less heen, meer this type of
No,
job.
it's just I'm a lazy worker, so I don't consider myself a hard worker.
Right, but die bestaan dus wie 15. When hebben we het getroffen de eerste maal? How many years ago? 2012.
I don't remember. You would know that better than me when we had our first argument about politics.
Ik denk, yeah.
Isn't that what we mostly talked about? It was always politics, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah. Politics, Apple, Samsung.
Yeah.
Ja, in Prague Shield.
That's right.
Wat even noem je in Prague Shield?
Me to read Yiddish. Maar ik heb geleerd Yiddish. It's a line, and I can't read Yiddish, but I can't read it.
Right.
I skipped that part. So.
Wat ook
I skipped the part with my geleerd Yiddish.
Okay, kijk gewoon, wat die kent Jiddisch, die rest
Ja. Ik ken slang Yiddish.
Wat die verstaat, het is meer comfortable to just reden die in English, whatever.
It's, I don't know. It's become more natural for me. This I don't know. I'm dyslexic, so growing up, when I grew up, this was still something that wasn't very well taken care of. So if you couldn't keep up, then you were sidelined.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And by the time I went for vision therapy and all that other stuff, I was already a teenager. By that point, I wanted to learn Yiddish, Leinen, and spell. It just, I don't know, never worked out. As a teenager, I mean, maybe if I would have stayed in the Cholentop, whatever, it would have been more necessary. But when do I need it?
Right. Ja, aber bei now krijg je schon alle Genen, muss man singen bei Bechubatchi. Die kennst schon jede Bechubatchi mit die kennst so sein.
I don't really know the songs. I don't care. I don't listen to the lyrics. I love music. I love instrumentals. I'm not. I know you're a vocal coach, and you're not gonna like this, but I don't like vocals that much. I like instrumentals.
Because they are very, ze doen bad vocals out there, so it's kind of them to
Yeah, but I mean, have you ever listened to Dream Theater?
No.
They're a band anyway. They have a lot of beautiful instrumentals. I love listening to Dream Theater, or there are other rock bands that have certain songs that have very nice instrumentals. And then I like more classical stuff as well. And I like some of the ältere Yiddish music, like from Avram Fried, Matcham and David, from like 20, 30 years ago. Um, a lot of the newer songs, I listen to it and I'm like, ah, yeah, I know that song. Someone dipped it in the mikveh and it became a Yiddish song after 5 seconds. And they added Hebrew lyrics to it, and now I gotta this. This is I can listen to the original because the music is better. So,
Yeah.
except for Mendy Heshkovich, he is an incredible, talented musician and artist, and I've listened to other bands, and it's not just because I do sounds for him. I'm biased, but Mendy is amazing. Like I
He
sometimes do
is.
stay at events and just on the side and just listen to the music. And sometimes I need it just for my internal clock needs to be wound up. Otherwise, you can lose touch with yourself. And
Right.
the I'll say this: there very few. Maybe you would know the reason for that, but like the one singer that I really like to listen to when I'm not in a good mood or something is going on. I'm under a lot of stress and I need to like relax myself. Is what's the name? Shulman Lemmer.
He's great.
And and to be honest, and I know him. He knows me. We know each other. I know most of these are most of these guys. I work with them a lot. I will say, just as a singer, he's not my favorite singer. There are a lot of singers, in my opinion, that are just as
Better.
far sound. Maybe not as far. I don't know. There's something about his voice and the way something that just goes deeper. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are certain singers that are extremely good, but it feels very mechanical. Um,
See, perfect.
and it's I don't know. Shulman Lemmer sings. It's like I don't know. The it's very soulful.
Hmm. It is. Yeah. I must to a certain sense, sure.
There's a non-Jewish singer. I mean, he's dead at this point. Pavarotti. Pavarotti also is unbelievable. You ever listen
He
to
was
Pavarotti?
amazing. Okay, yeah, sure. Pavarotti again,
Oh,
amazing.
holy crap! I'm not a big opera fan, but I do listen sometimes to him. And
Yeah. Amazing voice. Amazing. Golden.
there are a lot of big stars and singers that I'm like, what's the big deal? I listen to that. I listen to one or two songs. Yeah, I'm done. But some guys, some musicians, just yeah.
Right. All right.
All right, yeah. I think the conversation is starting to go.
No, I'm good with the
No,
conversation. No, ich has I leave the when the conversation is like,
yeah, no, we're starting to go into a lot of personal stuff. We can that we could just hang out and sit and talk between ourselves.
but the conversation, by the way, they keep still seeing Monroe in office, whatever, and the guys take a heim, and I guess it's so
No, right
bad.
now I still have to go upstate right now.
Really, for the job.
I have a very large crew out. It was a pretty whatever. It's a little complicated why I have to go up.
Wauw.
So
Die
yeah,
kerst, die
most
kerst als heb je geen geloof van wie like for talks.
well, I got to be in Brooklyn tomorrow, so I'm probably not going to get much sleep anyway. That's okay. I'll let the FSD take over.
It's hoort to the FSD now.
Yeah, especially when you're tired.
Yeah.
But,
All right. By the way, it was an amazing conversation with Nir. We won't obviously aangaan, obviously, meer in the details from the 80s and the 90s and the gelieken and analog and digital.
I'm not that old. Don't make me older than I am.
It's not about all, but it's just about
a little bit about certain
exactly.
things.
It's not about all, but you know what was. So, van mij gezegd is interessant, but we had a great topics and a great Gita Shmiz
I'm sure
Nasach
I spoke a lot
areas.
of nonsense if someone were to analyze it.
It was a great Shmiz. Okay, Yossi.
All right.
It was awesome.
Okay. Are you gonna put like any?
So if guy like schrijf je upload it, ga je like Gita shine a title met a description. Of die wil hem gaan aanschikken dan information bijna wil dich contacten. Sandals, speakers, whatever, sounds.
No sound.
Sandal sound. Dus we gaan aanschikken dan information en het erop lijken. Okay. Peace.
Have a good night.
Zeg eens en bye.